Howdy, folks. Figured I'd get back on here and see what we can talk about. I know what I'm going to talk about, so doesn't really matter, does it? Just cut this cigar, and I guess I didn't do a very good job. Anyhow, seemed to be a pretty decent cigar. I don't know if you can see that or not. Thank God that's what they are. Seem to be pretty decent. They seem to burn pretty good for the most part. I've had a couple that didn't burn quite so nice, but they'll have that, I guess. You know, not every cigar is going to be the way you like it or burn nice and clean, and they're all going to be just a little different. Even if they come from the same batch, still a man rolling it. All the tobacco is going to be a little different. The wrapper is going to be a little different. It kind of comes back to it. Kind of like people. You know, we're in an election year here. And people want to sit here and talk about all the things they're going to do for the country and what they're not going to do for the country and so on and so forth. It always seems funny to me that the ones that are in office, well, put them in a little bit longer and they're going to do this, this, and this for you. Well, why the hell didn't they do it already? Why'd it take them 40 years to do something? Or for that matter, 4 years or 6 years. They should get right on it, but they don't. See, you should never put your faith in man. Women, that includes women, but you should never put your faith in them. They'll never live up to your expectations. They'll disappoint you. And in your own personal life, people disappoint you. Sometime, one time or another, everybody will disappoint you. Why? Well, you have expectations, and they have expectations, and everybody has expectations or things they want to do or this or that, and then they conflict, and it doesn't always work out the way you think it should. So you become disillusioned. You see, you gotta remember, most everybody, not most everybody, everyone, we're all hypocrites. At one time or another in our life, we were a hypocrite. We're all sinners. I guess what I'm really getting at is you can't put your faith in anyone you're electing, if it's an election year, anyone in your personal life, or even your family. There's only one you can put your faith in and trust in, and that's Lord Himself, God, Jesus. He doesn't disappoint you. He always is there for you. You may not be there for Him, though. Say, like I've said before, God doesn't forsake you. You forsake God. God gave you the moral laws, and whether you follow them or not, well, that's your choice. Because God gave you free will. And a lot of times we make our own bed, we lie in it. And God, well, He's there, still there for you, regardless. Regardless of how big a shit you are, He's still there for you. Always. I mean, some people think, they need this and need that, and they want this, they want that, and they become disillusioned in things. But God, He works in His own time frame. Not your time frame. Not my time frame. Not this world's time frame. His. And sometimes you never get what you thought you wanted, because God stood back and looked at you and said, you're not ready. You're not ready for what I'm ready to give you. Maybe you'll never mature, and maybe you'll never be ready. Most people never live up to their potential. They don't even live up to a fraction of their potential. And that's most people. They're too content in all this. God always wants the best for you. But the problem is sometimes you don't. You sabotage yourself. People do that. Things are going along well, and they just happen to have to sabotage themselves. I don't know why, but they do. It's always interesting, though, when things go wrong. Most people don't run to God. They're mad at the situation, or they're mad at this, they're mad at that, instead of going to God first and talking to Him to figure these things out. People that have children and such, you always want the best for your kids. God's no different. He wants the best for you. He wants the best for your children. He wants the best for everyone. But there's a lot of people that can't handle that. This is a big shocker. Most people think they're going to go to heaven. Most people always go, oh, they're up in heaven when they die. You really think so? Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. Are you always honest with yourself to really look at someone and say, that's someone that is going to heaven, or is that somebody that's going to hell? Do you know the person well enough to even say that? Because you ask people, are you a good person? Most of them say, yeah. Then you ask them a few questions, and then they realize something. No, they're far from a good person. I mean, it's pretty simple. But for some people, it's not. They get it, and other people are delusional. You know, the Lord said it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than it is for people to get through the gates of heaven. Think about that. Hell, I can't even thread a needle. I can't. It's like, yeah, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for man to get into heaven. Does that tell you something? Gonna be a whole lot of people that don't make it. Me included. I'm not delusional about it. I'm a sinner. Sin all the time. See, that's the other thing. Is people put other people like on a pedestal, movie stars and athletes and singers, and just like celebrities, and they want to put people up on a pedestal and this person, that person, they do this, they do that, and they're a sinner, just like you. They're no different than you. And the one you should put on a pedestal, you don't. I mean, it's pretty interesting, isn't it? A lot of people say, "Oh, if God, only if you would, only if you do this for me, only if you do that for me." It don't work that way. You don't make deals with God like that. It don't work that way, people. You do it because you love Him, and you put Him first and foremost in your life, and you want to obey Him, and you want to follow His commandments. You want to do His good works. That's why. Not for what you can get. But a lot of people, that's what it's about. What's in it for me? I always watch people like that. Most people are going to miss this because they never went this far in the video. But when you watch these people crashing on YouTube or TikTok or any of these, and mostly it's women, they're so pretty, they have a good job, they have a home, they really have a good personality, they have all these things, okay? If you ever notice, it's all about them. It's me, 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 me. It's all about them. It's what they offer, what they can offer, what they can do. But watch people. Listen to them. They'll tell you a lot. Especially when somebody goes, oh, my car, my truck, my house, my husband, my wife, my. It's all about them again. Very self-centered people, very selfish. They're not they're not able to give. They're not able to actually be human and connect with people and be honest. And they wonder why they're having problems in life. You can tell how somebody drives down the road. When people are aggressive and so on and so forth, it's all about them. It's like, get out of my way. Yeah, you're driving too slow. Don't be standing in the way. Get out of the road. Oh, they didn't hold the door for me. They're an asshole. I mean, all kinds of things. It's just that's how they are, and they wonder why they have trouble. They're a miserable SOB. Very selfish. And it's always somebody else. It's always the other person. The problem's always someone else. It's not them. It's someone else. They're always interrupting you because they don't really care what you got to say. They only want to hear what they have to say. They don't care about you. So they interrupt you. Very self-centered people. And they wonder why they have a hard time communicating with God because they're not listening. They're not paying attention. And it's all about them. I could go on, but you get my point. Don't put your trust in man. It will disappoint you every time. Put your trust in the Lord. That's it, period. Don't put your trust in the banker and the stock market and your silver and your gold and your preps and all that bullshit. Don't. Do not put your faith in those things. They will not save you. The only way you're saved is through Jesus. Through God. Their mercy. He rose again, the resurrection. You still have a part to play. Book of life. Let me open it. Let me see. Let me see your works, your deeds. No, I see here it's all about you. They know you. Oh, look what you did. You did all these things. You helped people out. Gave people things. Wasn't about you. You gave a lot of yourself. My good and faithful servant. What do you want to hear? What is it you want to hear when that book opens? Think you're going to be Perry Mason? Going to stand there and litigate and argue? You're not going to have a voice in it. You're not going to have an excuse. People, that are very selfish and self-centered always have an excuse. Some people say, "Oh, you got to take credit for this. You got to take responsibility." Okay. Responsibility for what? They seem to think you're supposed to take responsibility for their inadequacies because everything's screwed up because of them. People seem to think, oh, the government is they screwed the pooch here. People actually think their tax dollars goes to pay for things. Hell, they don't even pay the interest on the debt. That's why we rack up an extra $1 trillion every 3 months. Just interest. People, your taxes don't pay for anything. And again, that's your fault, say. Some way, shape, or form, that's your fault. You're not paying enough in taxes. There's somewhere you're cheating the system. It's you. It's your fault. So they'll go on a witch hunt. Cop pulls you over. Nah, I wasn't speeding. Oh yeah, you were. I clocked you. Well, show it to you. I don't show you shit, boy. I said you were speeding. You were speeding. Yeah, but you got this other. No, it's you. Cop writes you out the ticket, hands it to you. Doesn't matter what you say. You're guilty. Period. Don't want to listen to anything you have to say. Because you at one time or another in your life, you were speeding down the road. So you deserve the ticket, whether you were speeding this time or not. Because at one time or another, you were speeding. Well, I could go on. You folks take care now.